Hi, folks. We're back again here with the Frasier, the Ivan Files. Yeah, it's the Ivan Files. And today we have some special guests. We have Tim Frasier and Eric Frasier. And as you know, we have Kelly and
The plus
Shelby.
one.
And a plus one.
And a plus one. I crashed the family
Family,
reunion.
not
That's-
family.
And Mark is kind of in the offing over there. He could probably
Working as he should.
He could probably provide a comment here and there if you wanted. Now we're going to talk about a couple things today that are pretty important. Actually, when you think about it, or if you don't think about it, it's still pretty important. Is it? What does that first one say? It says,
Consideration of the proposition that humans were created by extraterrestrial aliens.
yeah,
Carl.
just
Ellie's so sad she's
presume
missing
for a
this.
moment that humans were not biblical or any of that, that they were created by extraterrestrial creatures from another planet. Now, what do you think about that?
My
guys?
first question would be why can't it be biblical?
Well, it could be biblical,
Well,
I
they specified
suppose.
planet.
Yeah. Go
So,
ahead.
Just extraterrestrial?
Extraterrestrial.
Isn't God extraterrestrial?
Yeah.
Oh, I like. Nicely
Like
Like,
done.
where are you going with that?
They're
Yes,
picking apart
sir.
the statement here. You know.
God is extraterrestrial.
Yeah,
It's in the description.
extraterrestrial,
What?
yeah. Here we go. Extra human terrestrial in another planet, you know. I don't know which one it is, but you know that just assume that there was some interesting looking characters that arrived here in a spaceship at one time, a long time ago, and decided, oh, this is a pretty good planet. Look, we can take some of these ape-looking type things that they look like they're ready to survive on this planet, and let's put a brain in them and teach them how to
So,
be human beings.
so it's not the counter narrative of one lonely alien couldn't find anyone to procreate with his own species, and just like, all right, here we go. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're saying they put the brain in the monkey.
That's
Yeah.
where they got the
No,
phrase "put lipstick on a chin."
No, brain in an ape.
Ape.
In an ape, like Tarzan.
Ooh.
But Tarzan is a fictional character, you know.
Right.
But
How do you know that?
an ape. Well,
So what do you think about that, Dad? You wrote
because
that.
I'm a fictional character. What?
What is your thought on that?
On that?
That you want to know all of our thoughts on the consideration of the
Yeah,
proposition that humans are.
Well, I think that a whole lot, if it was established that an extraterrestrial group created human beings, that would create a whole new idea base for how we think and how we get along and what we do. But also, it would say, well, you know, we better write up something about that. That's not a Bible. That will write up something about that tells some of the story of how we were created and what the expectations are, and whether or not, here we go, we have free will.
Mm.
There it is.
So what's your impression about that, Tim?
Well, I think we should hear from the subhuman first on this subject.
That's why you were asked.
The subhuman over here, yeah, okay.
And he's gonna take his skin off in a minute.
Yeah, yeah.
Reveal.
Yeah, like in subquantum sort of thing, yeah.
Well, I think that we have, scientific evidence of a phylogeny of the human race. And it's possible that it was regular old garden variety evolution and there was a little bit of help genetically. But rather than procreation and an F1 resulting in a hybrid, I think it's as likely that folks that are smarter than our race may have done genetic insertions, but for what purpose we couldn't know and don't know yet.
Wow.
So
came down.
dang.
That was,
Well said.
shit.
Yeah.
Podcast over.
And
How about that, Eric?
Well, there's
Something smart.
a huge, well, he doesn't even know what he said, actually. He's just kind of,
smart.
he's reading from a script.
Uh-huh. No,
Um,
there's no script here, it's just a
No, I
question,
know.
yeah.
It's a dilemma. The reason is humanity has to have a higher being because we're looking for something more powerful than ourselves. We think we're the most powerful, but we're thinking something else is above us, looking down, leading. So we come up with a bunch of things like extraterrestrial, God, whatever, Allah, however you want to call it. We make mythical, even mythical gods, Zeus, so on and so forth. Now, what is the real truth? That's man's true path. That's the argument always, whether it's Jesus Christ, whether it's clearly evolution, no gods at all, which I'm with Tim. I believe there's a mixture, in my opinion.
Don't help my side.
Well, I'm not helping your side. I'm just trying to. You need all the help you can get.
These are brothers, by the way.
I can tell, yeah, for sure. This is round, what, umpteen and a half, I'm sure, yeah.
You know, I think I really honestly don't think God just built everything. I think everything it's a mixture. I have my own beliefs, but I also believe in science, so it also defeats all of my beliefs. So it's a real confliction. If you just say, oh, God just created man and everything, well, that don't make no sense because we have proof of evolution.
Yeah.
Well, then there's the other theory of, okay, well, maybe God just created this single cell and then it evolved, and then all of a sudden there's Jesus Christ. And all. So there's a big missing gap. And depending on the group of people you talk to, it's a dead-end road still. As far as what's the question? The consideration of created by extraterrestrials? I think there's diddling. I don't know that it's all just somebody planning us and, like Tim says, slowly messing with the breeding and the propagation of humanity. It's more of a it's just true evolution. I mean, clearly it's like if we get nuked today, we will evolve with that. The reason, if there is another being out there, our world alone, the magnitudes of nuclei we deal with daily, I don't think there's probably a species on the universe that could handle. They would probably be from the sun. You walk out into the sun, a human would melt.
So within this query, it's more of a query than a question. It holds out that we are evolved enough to consider it, and that's a good thing. That said, we've unlocked some of the power of genetics, but we still can't make a cell. And so within that consideration, I think that we're in search of the divinity within science that is deep in the sub-quantum level of science and divinity.
Now, you
So
just
there
watch too
are
many
things
movies.
that are unexplainable by science, and when we throw our hands up and don't understand it because the mechanics don't work the way we think they should, then we leave it to God and we say, well, that's the way God did it. you know,
Right, that's
and,
it, that's the fallout.
and I'm okay with it, you know.
Mhm.
That's a great thing to believe in, and, you know, I think it's a personal choice. But there is, within the layers of science, there's space for divinity.
Yeah,
And the two don't have to be exclusive of each other. They can be mutually cooperative.
I would like to examine that further one of these days, that there's space for more. Shall we?
I mean, good points, right? I mean, I think that we as humans are constantly seeking a purpose, right? Which is why you get the manifestation of religion and all following one religion. You kind of mentioned on that, or all following like a bigger purpose. You know, when you talk about extraterrestrial, at the end of the day, you're still putting your faith into something, right? Like something came down and did something that I'll never be able to prove. And to a point, to an extent, you can also argue that from a scientific level too. You know, at some point you're going out on faith that it was evolution, right? You can prove up to a point, but we will never definitively know, were you there to actually see it evolve or not, right?
Right.
And at the end of the day, you have to put your faith in one corner, but at the end of the day, like, you are choosing to believe one thing over the other. And I think the way everyone kind of attacks this, you kind of leave yourself a back door, because there's no way to ever fully know what is right and what is not. Right? I think, like, when we turn in terms of extraterrestrial, it's hard to say if anything exists because nothing's been proven to exist, right? If aliens are truly visiting the planet, how come every one of the photos we have of them is blurry? Right? Like, everyone has a camera in their pocket. You know what I'm saying? So, like, at some point, you're just going out on faith, like, that is the truth that I choose to believe. So I think it's a really interesting place to be in. At the end of the day, like, it's unprovable, which makes it a lot of fun to speculate on.
Kelly?
I think that because of the vastness of the universe, I'm inclined to believe, I mean, and I believe in God and I have faith and all that, strong. But I don't know why God wouldn't entertain extraterrestrial either, right? All humans, all beings, all creatures, and the huge universe that we live in. Like that, what is that telescope? I just tried to remember that the other day, that just got some new pictures of galaxies.
Hubble.
Yeah, thank you. And those pictures, you can't look at that and believe that we're the only planet in the entire universe that has life.
Yeah.
I can't.
I heard something the other day that stuck with me, and it said, like, the reason we're not seeing a bunch of communications come into our planet is because there's a potential that we're the only civilization to make it this far.
Huh.
Or,
Everything
I
blows
think-
up tomorrow. Like,
Yeah, I
how many
think-
communications do we get off planet Earth to, like, 3 galaxies over?
Yeah.
Next to none, maybe one,
Yeah.
right?
I think if anybody else is looking at us, we're too unpredictable and too dangerous to approach.
Amen to that.
Because the first thing everybody wants to do is kill it, shoot it, cut it apart.
Yeah. Yeah, attack the unknown, right?
I think we're probably more inspected and studied than anything we've ever imagined, because we are so adolescent in this universe. We're young, we're babies.
Yeah, and I think that there could be a lot in the depths of the sea too, and I know that.
Oh, yeah.
I think that, you know, because we haven't been able to figure out how to go all the way down there
Yeah.
yet.
we're
Well-
gonna get there though.
Well-
So the next thing is, what if, say, Atros Zetrov landed in his ship and said, "Hi folks, I'm here. Now I got a few things to tell you, like, see that star out there? That's where I'm from. And we are what you call extraterrestrials, and you see us on TV sometimes, but it's, you know, it's really you haven't got it right yet. So, you know, it's, what would happen to our culture, if somebody did come down and land their ship down here, like Elon Musk or something? No, excuse it.
Probably definitely.
What would happen? What would be the impact on our culture?
Today.
Yeah, today. Suppose they did it today. They landed out here. And,
Nothing,
yeah, what would happen?
nothing.
I think you would see mass hysteria myself.
Why?
I think it'd be
I
on the news
think
and be over.
you would have, if in fact that was to be,
Religiously.
yeah, religiously,
Yeah.
I think you would see big problems.
Big
Because-
what?
Big problems, because people may have to not abandon their religion, but question their religion. And I think religion is there to be questioned. I think that's how it's built. And I don't know, and again, this is just my opinion, but I don't know that we are a creature, or that we have enough creatures on this planet that would be able to logically question their religion without having to attack the other.
Right, you'd form the most dangerous terrorist group ever known.
I don't know, that's kind of what I think.
Is what
But I
it'd
could
be.
be 100% wet. People could come together and say, that explains a lot.
Yeah.
So entertainment's a good tool for helping civilization become used to an idea, all right? And that's one of the things that I've heard other people mention that is being done now, is using entertainment, movies, to make us, make it as real as possible to perceive when you're enjoying the movie, but also less of a shock if it actually happens. So if that's the case, and there's a actual cultural move to get us ready for something like that, which, by the way, is the best case scenario. There's lots of scenarios available to consider. Then maybe we're smart enough as individuals within a culture to say, okay,
Yeah.
let's look at that through the lens of, this is good for us. But when it threatens political power, religious power, when it threatens the systems established by a culture and civilization, then there will be evil in the background to make sure that it doesn't happen in a smooth way and that there is no transition. And so in that way, we're not ready, and it would result in chaos, I believe, but there's a lot of 50-50 plausible outcomes to that. And the worst case scenario is probably as likely as anything, where we're being farmed for food, or we're being set up for domination or subjugation by a race that is intellectually beyond us and technologically beyond us. But those are most likely the case, because in life we start as little kids that when you do this, it results in that. And how often is the best case scenario possible the outcome? Very low percentage of the time. So my offer is that we should prepare for a likely outcome of negative and being under attack and exterminated or taken to the processing plant, with the hope that that is just a negative lens and that it's better than that. And that's what we hang on to, is hope that there's somebody smarter than us out there, which, by the way, to your point, is it's plausible that there is. It's mathematically not out of the realm of likelihood, but it's just as possible that we're it. We're the most evolved and most intelligent beings in the universe, and of course that sucks.
Yeah, that
That's
would.
a bad
right?
day. You know what I mean? Nobody's smarter than us to come to the table. Wow. But
If we can't figure it out,
Yeah.
shoot. Yeah.
but we need a couple million years, and then we'll be all right if we survive. And as a culture, that's what we got to focus on, is surviving through the rudimentary stages of cultural existence. And then we'll make it to that level that we hope comes to help us. And if we're the smartest ones, then we'll get there, But I choose to believe that there are others out there that can help us, and that they would carefully insert themselves into our culture and civilization, because they're intelligent enough to know the danger in that.
Yeah.
But it will unravel all power structures that are based on and in where we came from, how it all came to be. And those are the most powerful power structures.
Yeah.
So, and so that has to be taken on. That has to be dealt with. But
Society, yeah, I think society would lose their mind.
Yeah.
Like,
the average person would, I think.
right? I mean, why would you go flip burgers at Burger King for $18 an hour when nothing matters anymore? Like, I just, I think the whole system would cave in on itself very quickly.
Why would nothing matter?
Exactly. Just because somebody comes down and says, hey, I'm your neighbor,
Because
Mayor, I gotta go.
The
Just wanna let you
quote,
know I'm
in the
here."
quotation marks of the world must be coming to an end because they're smarter than us. And what does a lesser intelligent culture always do to a more intelligent culture?
Eradicates
They're
it.
afraid of them, so they're going to use their guns instead of their brain to try to stop from being conquered.
Yeah.
So, but we're hopefully a little further along than that.
The question that always comes to mind for me whenever we get around the subject is, what is the advantage of an extraterrestrial species to even reveal itself
Yeah.
To them or us?
for them? Like,
Yeah.
what is their
Yeah,
what is
that's a
their
good
benefit,
question.
right? I mean, to watch us like spiral into chaos potentially, or just like stay the course and just let it play. And it feels like the latter is the safer choice. I mean, obviously we can't take the 1,000-foot view from that perspective because we don't know the chips on the table at that point. But like, I have a hard time even speculating what the advantage of an extraterrestrial revealing itself as an ultimate intelligent being would be.
Yeah, that's true.
I think an
humanity.
important integer to that equation is how rare and precious the Earth is.
Right.
Okay, in their view,
Mm-hmm.
we may be more rare than we can possibly imagine.
That's a good point.
You know, so
And we're working on destroying that planet.
well, sure, that's what we do.
Yeah,
It destroys itself, but also cleans itself. We're nothing.
yeah.
Well, I think we helped destroy it.
Oh, the rest of the universe does too, though.
Do you think
Asteroids,
we,
everything.
do you think we make good food?
You mean? Wait a minute.
Oh,
I didn't know how you meant that.
as a,
Do
as
you
a
think we being
consumption.
consumed would be good food?
Do you recall the film
I imagine
V?
we taste terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Greasy.
think so.
Gross.
Yeah.
That, we are actually being raised for food?
I think that would, if that was, yeah,
How
I
long will
mean,
we have to
whatever.
stew you?
I don't need that.
Crock-pot for a very long time.
Yeah, very long time. You're safe, Dad. They're not gonna eat you.
Next week, we're going to interview a cannibal to get the real answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I really don't think that, but, you know, who was it, the scientist from Cambridge? He had a muscular difficulty, and,
Oh, yes.
yeah.
Hawking?
He said,
Yes, Hawking.
Stephen Hawking.
he said we better be careful when we throw in all this data out there about ourselves and pathways to get here, because they may not be friendly at all,
Yeah.
you know.
Again, another theory.
Yeah, so,
It's just it's an opinion.
you know, I think.
That's all of those things are.
Yeah. Well, and then, so like right now, AI is the big buzzword, right? And the
Yeah.
thing that they're speculating now is that there's not going to be enough power in America to like scale with the power suck of AI, right? So how are we going to be able to scale power in this country to stay competitive with other foreign powers? Right? So then my buddies and I were talking about this the other day, and it's like, so this is just the Matrix. Like, eventually humans become 9-volt batteries, and that's how you power the AI. And you're like, oh boy, that hits a little too close to home. So
But-
maybe that's what they're looking for, right? You don't know.
It'll be
Yeah.
it'll be the same way as processors, though. Just when we were groundbreaking in the industry when it came to cloud computing. Built the very first owned site by a company. And within 5 years, what took an area that was 4 by 4 feet by 8 feet tall we broke down to 6 inches by 4 inches by 12
Wow,
inches.
That's amazing.
So the evolution's not always about the power, sometimes it's the product.
Yeah, good point. So less power to get the same result is kind of what you're getting at.
Yep.
But to your point, we
Interesting.
moved money towards power grids in our 401k.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people trying to figure it out right now.
It's a big thing.
Yeah, it is.
It's a big
huge.
thing. We had out here, there was a time when we had a kid working with us, and he would mine
Yeah,
in the computer.
Cryptocurrency.
Cryptocurrency. He would mine it, and our power bill went out the roof because he had computers constantly going.
yeah.
No, power, energy, that's
Yep.
gonna be maybe one of the commodities of the future, you know, so, for sure. I mean, certainly investable.
Mhm.
Water.
But water, there will be wars over water.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, big time. Power, Tesla told us how to get all the power we need as soon as the petroleum companies kind of let go a little bit. And
So do we think it's safe to pull, crude oil from the ground?
you
Does
mean
science have
will
any,
it collapse?
sorry, I'm off topic here.
No, we'd go off topic at the
Okay.
end.
Yeah,
This is the off-topic podcast.
Has it been determined that crude is not a functional temperature and axis ballast for the earth? Has that been established?
I don't think so.
Yeah, so I think we're even playing with fire pulling crude out of the ground,
Yeah,
you know?
well, that's an idea, isn't it?
Something to research, Dad.
It seems to be something that's common sense that,
Uh-huh.
you know, in our short geologic, within the context of geologic time, within our short time, you know, we're just like, whoa, hell, it's all down there, let's just get it out and use it and burn it, you know, and we're like, I'm thinking, the earth is so much older than that. And this era, in its lifespan, is so very short
Uh-huh.
with regard to geologic time that, you know, we may be screwing it up more than we could ever know,
That's true.
you know. So,
Yeah.
learn how to leave it alone is a term we use in bison and wildlife stuff, you know, and we don't think we've learned how to leave stuff alone.
Well, and
very
it's
good.
really hard to tell how much our meddling has offset everything,
Yeah.
right? Like, has it had any effect? Has it had all the effect? We'll never know, because I mean, the data set isn't large enough for us to really be able to look
Right.
at. Then to drilling out cores from millennia in the ice sheet, that'll give you some sort of indication, I guess. So I don't know. It's really interesting to see if it's just a cycle or if we are really messing it up.
But we still base all those studies on pretty much just about 100 years, maybe 200 years of what we know. So
Yeah.
core samples, we just make a guesstimate and go, okay, well, at 22 inches, we're gonna say that was 41 million years ago because we took the top 6 inches and just did this. There's no way to know that. I mean, dinosaurs could have been here maybe 1,000 years ago.
Data and lab work is data and lab work. Labs are people too.
Right.
And
Yep.
tests that are created by labs are created by people.
Yep.
And so all of those things, and the most notable scientists that I know are so very genuinely humble because they know how very weak scientific conclusions really are.
Yep.
It's not to dismiss it, it's just, it's a path to the truth. It's not the truth.
Yeah.
You know, when science establishes something, it's a path. It's another step in the path to the truth. It's not the truth. So,
It's interesting.
It is interesting.
so we would love to believe, like we would love to believe in a greater, more intelligent race that's gonna come down and help us out. Not likely, by the way. And that, you know, that our science is solid and that we can proceed according to it. Well, science is evolving.
Yeah.
it certainly
Do you
is,
think that
yeah.
they're already here?
But the aliens? The aliens? You mean, you don't mean, like ice?
Well, look at the
guys?
Democratic Party.
You know what I mean? Do you think it's possible?
Getting into a
that they
different
Illegal
subject
alien?
now.
I think,
Yeah, we're working on that right now. We're deporting.
yeah, they're here. There's too many of them here. Yeah, I really think that's the only way, and we're at such a critical crossroads in survival of our kind and the planet that something better be happening pretty quick.
Yeah.
We're playing with too big a fire.
I'm really, I don't know how you reveal yourself and have it be universally truth that something's coming down from space. The way that everything, like this background, I created using AI. It took me 3 seconds to say, create an image and have this in it. And boom, it was there.
There you go.
Like, you could fabricate anything. So how much are we going to be able to take?
How much are you gonna believe?
Yeah, how much do you take as truth
Right.
moving forward? Like, that's the real question. So how do you even go about revealing yourself? You take over every TV and every screen and just say, hey, here's what it is. Then you got to, anyway, it's weird. Like, that day comes, what does it look like?
Mm-hmm.
Is one news channel covering it? Are all the news channels covering it?
Yeah.
Like, what's their take? Is it
That day
war, grab your
comes.
gun, or is it peace? You know, let's all make it work.
Yeah. Even if they're peaceful, we won't be, potentially.
No, I agree.
I don't know, like, I
agree
will
with
say, like, best case scenario, it would be great to see, like, the world unite under one mission, because it feels like we're so fractured as a species. Like, there's something that would really be magical to all unify and let's fight this together. There just hasn't been a bigger or a big enough or bad enough wolf at the door to really unite us as a society. And you see some of these entertainment pieces where it's like we all came together and fought off the bad guy and then everything was great. But like in reality, is there anything that will get all of humanity on the same page?
Yeah, 10% of us left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was President Reagan who said that the thing that would unite this planet is if somebody attacks from outer space so that the countries would all get together.
Well, it's already happened. Haven't you
And,
seen Independence Day?
The documentary with Will Smith.
Is that real?
Yeah.
It's real. It was real.
Then the sequel.
I don't believe
That's
the moon
right,
landing either.
What was real?
No, she's being funny.
Yeah,
Oh,
Being silly.
yeah.
yeah, silly.
Well,
Well, cool.
folks, I think probably we've come to the end of our time. Because time is something that kind of puts a bracket around what we've done here. And we think about what's been talked about and what you would do, in fact, if a extraterrestrial person would come down and say, "Hello, folks, I'm here. Now here's what we're going to do," or just said, "Hello, folks. What do you want me to do?" You know, it's like you could think of several different scenarios, which we ought to think about because I think, as Tim had mentioned one day, there's enough sightings and stuff and discussion about it these days that it's probably going to happen before very long. There's gonna be somebody here to talk to us about extraterrestrials, to say IR1, and
So send him an email at ivan1933@gmail.com
right,
with your thoughts on that. So
yeah.
now you can say goodbye.
We'll see you next time. And thank our guests for being here.
Yes, thank you, guests.
Appreciate
Guests.
it very much, and we'll see y'all next time.
Ta-da.